Chatting.
Oh, there's Julia.
Well, good morning. So tell us about the show. How'd the show go? How did the cottage thing go?
Go ahead, Nancy.
It went really well. I was sick as a dog all day on Saturday, living on gravel. Elroy can testify to that. Um, but I got 9 leads. I think you got five. All right.
I have six here. Yeah.
Six. Yeah, I got nine. I think three of them might actually pan out. One of them's an island. Hey, another island.
Okay. So
Um,
overall, how is it compared to the other years or that you've been doing it?
Well, I only did it for the first time last year, and we found that the foot traffic was a lot less this year. But I think
Yeah.
that even though the foot traffic was not as much, the people who came in were serious. And as we were on the corner, Elroy and I were like saying hello to like everybody that walked by, which was really, really convenient. But I do think the foot traffic was much less this year.
Yeah, the foot traffic seemed to be down, but we get more leads out this year than last year. I think last year we had around 10.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
we're up in the lead count. I don't know if it's because of the new location or the corner, but yeah, it was good. It was a decent show, but yeah, foot traffic was down. We could tell walking the aisles, it was light everywhere.
Yeah. And
Okay.
we had another large real estate brokerage directly across from us. And I think Elroy and I got what, way more, like 80% more than they did.
Yeah, there was three agents in there at all times, and they were spent most of the time talking to each other.
That's right.
So
Well, depends how you got to work the booth. Like if you're there just to show a brand, or are you there to actually talk to people, right?
yeah, yeah.
We said hello
So
to
that's
every
important.
person that walked by.
Eye contact when
Yeah.
people walk by.
Yeah. Right.
Eye contact. Nancy and I also chatted about the fact that because the aisle was only real estate in that section, the foot traffic's down, but the intention of the people coming in is probably higher than the people just walking past every booth and you happen to be a real estate booth.
Yeah. So if people are going down the real estate aisles, they're there because they know it's real estate.
Yeah.
They may have some questions.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true, but there's also the surfers that want the cookies and the pens, and there's people that just walk down and they just want free stuff.
Yeah. True.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bags wide open and they're grabbing everything they can get near.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep the candies high or away from the little kids and the good stuff at the back of the booth.
That's right.
So the leads that you got, what kind of product are they looking at? Do they have places to sell? Is it like, give us an overview, just so we can sort of think where the psyche is of the buyer right now for that area.
Well, I've got one that the guy owns a vacant lot right now, but he's comparing whether he wants to build on that lot or sell the lot and buy something already built. Um, but yeah, I get three leads, four leads are all waterfront buyers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's typically what we
Okay.
find at the show. They want to buy waterfront.
Okay.
There's one I've already figured out his budget's a little unrealistic. He's a little on the light side, but
Right.
might find a right project. Just got to
Okay.
keep your eyes wide open. It's possible, but it's going to be a bit of a stretch.
So buying as recreational use, buying to move into and as a,
All recreational, all cottage. Yeah.
okay.
No full-time home. Not that I've seen on my list that are full-time home buyers. It's
Okay.
interesting. I noticed this. Yeah, I was going through mine are all buyers. There's no sellers in there, other than maybe that vacant lot guy, which is kind of interesting. You
Okay.
think in this market everybody would be a seller, but nope.
Yeah.
Do you have many
Nancy,
sellers,
do
Nancy?
you,
I do. I'm just going through my sheets right now. I do have a couple of sellers, but most of them are buyer. The one big seller I have is the island that's worth about 2 million in Calendar Bay. Um,
okay.
that one's really good. And I have a sell and buy. Um, they want to sell the one that I told you about on Trout Lake. Those ones they're gonna sell. and they're going to buy closer to the GTA.
Okay,
Yeah, they need to be 2 hours
interesting.
from Woodbridge. Those ones.
Yeah. So did anybody show any properties on the weekend or have any open houses? No? Okay, well, Michelle and I had a great experience. We went out showing houses in the Danforth area, so East Toronto on Sunday. And it was crazy. Absolutely nuts. We purposely booked the showings because the listings were all on open house. So we wanted to see what kind of traffic was going through the open houses. Every one of the listings that we showed, 4 of them, all had offers being delayed until Monday, Tuesday. All of them got multiple offers. Some of them sold for as much as $200,000 higher. And so I can tell you that the spring market in at least certain areas of Toronto has hit.
Oh, we have hands.
Yeah, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Okay, not quite as dramatic in Guelph, but I'm helping buyers look in the like 650 to 750 range, and we see a place within 3 days it has an offer that usually goes through, and it's just it's been a good learning experience for them too, to see like, okay, well, these ones that are priced like this are moving. We just saw one yesterday that was listed yesterday, and they're ready to put an offer in on it. And I assume we won't be the only ones. It's such a shift from even just last month.
And that's where it is. It's like it literally happened within the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. It's almost like we have the announcement that the rates weren't going to go down and the possibility that they'll go up by the end of the year has basically got everybody in a position. It's like, okay, we must better do something. So just before I get Gautam to come on, I'm just going to share that. So this was in Danforth area, if anybody's familiar with the Danforth. Listed at $999, sold for $1,185,000, and you could buy a little detached, nice house, no parking. Okay. Another one came out listed for $1,049,000, didn't even make offer date, sold for $1,250,000. I have another one that listed at $999, semi-detached, and sold for $1,272,000. And then this is the one that I found was quite exciting. So this was on Hogarth Avenue, and I don't know, Julia, if you know where the Hogarth Avenue is, just in that Broadview Danforth area. Detached on a 30 by 130 lot, actually has parking, has, nice house, but not, listed for $2,599,000, did not make the offer date, sold in 1 day for $3,550,500. Basically $1 million more. So you tell me that there aren't buyers out. And the open houses that when we were showing, it was a steady stream.
You barely get your shoes back on. There were so many people coming in.
Yeah. So if you're not out there and you're thinking, and here's the interesting part, is talking to our clients and talking to literally yesterday, I was talking to the orthodontist in the office here. And he says, what's going on in the market? And I'm telling him what's going on. He says, how come we're not hearing any of that in the news? I said, you will, but it's going to be 30 days after the fact. We see it because we're out there. So he said, well, what should I be doing? I said, you should be buying a semi-detached for $1 million that has a basement apartment, and we'll rent the basement and we'll rent the top for you. He says, really? I said, yeah, you should. because this market is going to continue. Anyways, Gautam, go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to share my experience too. I mean, I was showing homes in Milton, just on the weekend on Sunday. So same thing, like a lot of activity. I mean, some were appointments booked, some were open houses we were going through. But again, busy open houses, like there was people running into each other kind of thing. That's what the thing was. Some properties had fixed offer dates like for Monday and they got, I don't know, six offers, one property. Like we didn't kind of jump in, whatever. But again, and the properties listed, I mean, a little bit under market value. I think they were listed around like 700 price range and they were selling over 800, right? So 100K going over, most of them kind of thing. But again, my buyer's still kind of thinking and working through the things, but it was an eye opener. I see so much activity. I mean, every home had multiple people coming in, even with the appointments. There were overlapping appointments.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it seems like the floodgate opened. Like all of a sudden, that's what I kind of gotten into. And every house had the same thing, pretty much there.
Yeah. And so how are you communicating that to your database? Like how many people are sitting on the fence thinking that, they're still waiting for the bottom to happen? So you've got to let them know that this is what we see. And keep in mind, it usually starts in Toronto.
Yeah.
And as what happens is people start seeing the activity in Toronto and then they miss out. Then they start going and look like I'm getting a listing in Etobicoke, West Toronto area. I'm just on the phone with them. I said, look, here's what happened on the weekend. Haven't seen it coming to Etobicoke yet, but normally what takes place, it's about 3 weeks to a month later, all of a sudden Etobicoke, Mississauga starts having that same momentum. And so the idea is if you have people that you've been communicating with that have been sitting on the fence either about selling or looking to buy, you've got to get this information to them. Because they won't start reading about it until about a month from now, when all the boards start talking about the activity. Okay.
They just don't see in the news, right? But again, it was an eye opener for the buyer client too, right? Walking through with me and going through, because their preliminary idea previously was, yeah, just relax and wait and just don't worry, it's not a rush, type of thing. But I think now they're getting into the driver's seat, and say, let's move on.
Well, just what Elizabeth was saying, right? Like her buyers now are going like, oh my gosh, if we see something, we got to jump,
Jump, correct.
right? So you got to share that information.
Yes, with our database and putting maybe a post
Yeah.
out or a video out or something and saying, well, this is what we are seeing. So at least they're not bogged down so much with the news, right? Negative part.
Right.
I had a conversation this weekend with someone, or yesterday, but her and her partner, they rent, and she's, talking about renting somewhere else. But she asked me, what's going on in the market, because all I see on Reddit and on the news is all these horror stories of, the only inventory out there is like bad inventory and no one can get any good places and prices are too high. And I was like, well, I'll tell you what happened on Sunday. And I told her, and she thanked me for telling her because it changed her perspective, because that's not at all what she's hearing. And to be able to hear that from a professional, someone that's doing the work and in the industry instead of like a consumer that's had a bad experience, she said it really makes you think about where you're getting your information and that there's actually good opportunities out there.
And I think even sellers are a little bit adjusting also a little bit to that, because the house we saw, townhouse, that my client kind of liked it, but it had six offers on. The seller had purchased in peak time, right, in 2022 for 1,020,000, right? And now they're trying to get even like 900, right? So, and okay, it's listed for 800, trying to drive it as much as they can. So, but I'm thinking they can get a 900 at least, but they're coming down to reality, right? As well, and saying, well, yeah, maybe let's get 900 and take our loss and move on, rather than being hung up on that $1 million price point too. You know what I mean? I think that is happening as well from seller perspective that I see.
Yeah, Julia?
So speaking of the East End, because I've been watching a lot of houses that have been lingering for a long time. So I just noticed one that sold just 50,000 under asking, but it's been on the market since 2025, like well into 2025. And they just kind of stuck to their price. They started it in the 1.5s in 2025, and they relisted it late at 1.75, and just kept relisting it at that. And they sold only
Yeah.
50,000 under asking. So I think you're onto something, that the housing market is really becoming now more popular. The stuff that's been lingering is going. I'm not entirely seeing it in condos. And
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, I'm not seeing it in condos. I'm not sure, especially the small condos, whether that's going to happen. I think they're still to buy right now, but if you're looking for a deal, but we'll see what happens there. Because if
Yeah.
people are just catching up with the news and taking that time to prepare, and that's why they're in the freehold market all of a sudden, then is the same thing going to happen with condos? Or are they going to shift and wait for pre-construction and save all that development money that the government just came out with? I don't know. That'll be really interesting to see. Have you guys noticed anything in Mississauga with condos?
No, not yet.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't see much in condo space yet either, right? I see still they are kind of taking its time. That's what I see.
Yeah.
The other shift that I've seen, that I was kind of talking to some builder in kind of Brampton, not Brampton, Caledon, actually, Brampton, Caledon border. I mean, with that $130,000 whatever HST adjustment and all that. But even builder is willing to negotiate price, which I didn't see, happening in the past, right? Like they're like
Yeah.
listed for 1.2, but bring a client. I mean, I'm like, well, my client's budget is under $1 million, and they're like, well, yeah, bring them in, and we can probably put something together, and builder probably will come on board. Which I I was shocked to kind of hear that. Previously, their way was, this is the price, take it or leave it. We have limited inventory, and that's it. You know what I mean? But now they're willing to work and open to work with, I guess, buyer clients too, it seems.
Now, I did hear that there's a Mattamy property that was people were lining up for units. I wish I knew where it was, because I was wondering how that's going on, but and this was before the
Yeah.
announcement. So
I think
um,
Mattamy, there was some Mattamy had homes in Mississauga. They were trying to sell the nine project. It was Ninth Line and Dairy, somewhere that area I was kind of exploring. And I
Yeah,
think
that
Mattamy was offering price protection also, and saying, well, from the time you buy now, if it by the time it closes in 1 year, if the price drops, you will get the difference back. So I think that might be the hype there.
wow,
Yeah. They
what
were
a
trying
great
to.
idea. They're the first to come up with this?
That's right. I
Man,
just saw that first time, right? Price protection, or they were offering like you can get $20,000 in upgrades. Like they were giving option, right, to buyers, which I didn't see that from the builders before. And Mattamy is a good builder, we know that, right? And they were offering that, was kind of interesting. And with now HST rebate coming, I think that might create some hype with some people as well.
Well,
wow.
we had a conversation with one of the builders we deal with, small builder, but they're now asked, we were communicating with them, and it was just like, we said have you done any looking at, you get 7 lots left. Have you looked at, doing some marketing with the, explaining the actual tax, rebate and how it works and everything? They have no clue, which is interesting that here's a builder who, has been, has built a fair number of homes, but has a small inventory left. They are not sure how the program works or how it affects them, because it's come out, but it hasn't actually been described on how is the rebate working? And I can tell you one thing, builders aren't going to give up dollars just because. So where is that money coming from? And so we have I got a message back from the builder and going like, we're not actually sure how that's going to work. Any way you could help with that? So Michelle and I are going to dig in and see exactly if we can get more information, because it could mean we could end up with 7 lots to sell. So where I was going with that is, again, looking in the community where you work, are there some builders that maybe aren't sure on how this works or are sitting on some lots that they're going to need help with? I talked to Steve Brunet yesterday, and he actually has one of his buyers who was looking resale that has now said, well, Steve, with this new incentive, maybe we should be looking at pre-construction or builder inventory. And so that is something, maybe if you have buyers that you're working with, depending on the community you're in, maybe you go around and start meeting with some of the builders and just find out how are they handling this incentive?
Yeah, the
Because there
builder,
could be.
Scott, I was talking to that builder in Brampton. They just said was, well, we don't know how it's gonna work, but yes, buyer should be able to get credit at closing. So they kind of left it very vague, which is not really giving a confirmation to the buyer that are they gonna get $130,000 off or not of this $1 million property,
Right.
right? You know what I mean? Because they're still trying to figure that out too.
Yeah, and the agents that can figure that out and deal with the pre-construction or be able to promote that are going to have, a good foothold. So, that builder didn't give any information at all, got him, and just said like their plan is they're not giving the reduction.
Correct.
So, because in the standard agreement of purchase and sale for a pre-construction, it states in there that the buyer agrees to sign over the HST rebate to the builder as a standard condition in there.
Mhm.
Okay. So now if you're representing the buyer in any way, you're going to have to look at those clauses and just see how it applies, and definitely make sure that a lawyer, and maybe we could reach out to a couple of our lawyers and just see, what's their understanding on how this new incentive is going to work. Is it going to be a credit? Oh, Julia, do you know?
So I don't know for sure, but I was reading something by a real estate lawyer who talked about what happens if somebody buys now and defaults. And he was asking the question out there in the world, and this guy's really good too. It looks like if you bought it and then the builder gets it, he assumed that the builder's getting the credits. So if somebody bought a unit and they put down their deposit and then didn't close, and then would the default that they get, the deposit that would have been lost, does that get taken out of that deposit that the buyer put down? So let's say they put $250,000 down and they get $100,000 credit. Maybe they only default on 150. So he was asking that question, and this I assumed is going to find out, but that it seems to be that's the way it's handled. So that could be a thing too, where all of these great incentives are kind of going into the wastebasket, and nobody's getting them.
Well, and the builders themselves are, they're not like, even the idea of the development charges, saying, it came out that now they're going to make it so that the development charges are going to be 50% or deferred.
Right.
Which the deferral part for a builder, if anyone's not aware, prior to all this, when a builder actually goes to register for site plan approval, if they have 300 units, they have to pay the development charges up front. So now with them deferring that, with the municipality saying, okay, if you're going to build and it fits into this certain criteria, your development charges can be taken out of the closing proceeds, not paid up front. And so now if they're coming out and saying now those development charges are even going to be less, some of the builders are really going to have some incentives. They're going to try and make it work, because more so on, as Gautam was saying, more so on if they have standing inventory. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are working with buyers right now, you know, they're all also seeing all these incentives. So it's really important, as we said earlier, know what's going on in the pre-construction. So when, you know, as I was saying, when I talked to Steve Renee yesterday, he said, I know my homework for the next 3-4 days. I am going around to every builder in the areas where I service to find out, you know, he said, yeah, there's a few on MLS, but he said, like, there's a lot more that the builders have. And to find out, one, you know, right now they're cooperating on certain properties, but two, like, if my consumers are going to be going, I need to have that information. Okay. And so this is why I'm saying, like, today, just because you work in the resale end of things, you know that consumers are out there going, well, maybe I should look at buying new versus resale. So you need to know what those questions, how to answer those questions and what the procedures are. Okay. Yeah, Julia.
I just got an email pop-up from a pre-construction company saying we're hiring sales representatives. So it looks like
There
they're
you go.
preparing.
Yeah. Right.
It just
So-
popped up as you were talking in front of me.
As we're talking.
Crazy.
Wow. So that's where, you know, you got to understand, and the more information that we can all gather from, you know, if you get any more information, Julia, from that one lawyer that you can share with us, Gautam, if that builder all of a sudden comes back and says, here's how we're going to handle, you know, the incentives, I'm going to reach out to a couple of the lawyers I know, and then I'm also going to reach out to, you know, Michelle and I are going to have to do our research to see if we can help this builder in Thorold come up with a mark. As I said, you know, they basically gave us and said, here are the 7 lots, here are the houses that can go on the lot, here's the price list. And I sent it back and said, this is great, thanks for the information, but there's nothing here about the HST rebate for the consumers. How are you handling that? And they go, well, we don't know. So that's, we don't know. And I said, your marketing pieces, you need to have that information there. You need to show a price that, you know, this is your net price after the incentives. Because if you're not going to do that, then you're not going to get the consumers. That's what the consumers are looking for. Okay. Other thing to keep in mind, if you have any listings that are in the area of new construction, get to your open houses, because the builders are promoting it. There's one big builder in the Niagara Falls area. They are pumping out their information and they're saying Saturday is the day to come. Saturday's our day. We have big incentives over and above the HST rebate. Be the first to get the rebate. So you have any open houses anywhere where builders are doing that, get your signs out, because there will be traffic. Okay. Any other questions? Any listings? Any situations with offers?
So I have a rental only in Milton.
Yep.
A week on the market, a little bit overpriced, but with 2 parking spaces, no activity. Yesterday, 3 showings, 1 today, 1 tomorrow, 1 Sunday.
Wow.
So I don't rental.
Rental.
And there's so many like other units on the listing.
Yeah.
That we were at least $150 more, and we want an extra $100 for the second spot.
Okay.
So one agent asked, I said, don't worry about that $100 right now. You know, we can, if your client is a AAA client, we'll work it out with the price where everybody's happy.
Okay.
So either my client is ready to even include it because he knows there's so much inventory. Just for rental, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do some more research on, looking at what, how this will work. Hopefully get some answers back from some lawyers and possibility from some builders. If anybody else comes across anything where you see a builder advertising the incentives or mentioning how it works, or if anybody goes to any of the pre-construction sites, please share it with us. Okay.
Chat GPT answer you right now? Because if you said, how does this new HST thing work?
Yeah, I'd rather get it.
Trust it.
I'd rather get it from a lawyer that's actually going to close the deal. Chat GPT might help get us in some direction. The other thing also is, are you sharing the information that the government also put out? Like, they talk about the Ontario and Canada signed historic partnership to build homes, transit, and communities. So, yes, it concentrates on homes, but in there, they also talk about their commitment to doing the HST rebate for new homes for all eligible buyers, not just first-time buyers. They're talking about the waterfront eats transit, part of the city of Toronto is all involved in that, the East Bayfront and Portland's area. Talking about how they're looking at expanding the GO services around the greater Horseshoe region, new GO lines in the greater Horseshoe region. They're also looking at the Alto high-speed rail, commitment to supporting planning advancement of a high-speed rail line between Toronto and Quebec City. They also were talking about looking at, for the greater Toronto Hamilton area, where they're looking at doing extensions, more GO lines, more subway lines. That's information that investors would love to have, right? So if you can go through and just look at and take some of that information and put it out to your database and just say, hey, if you're thinking about buying something, even for your kids down the road, always look for transportation's number one, right? So any investment that any investor that I've dealt with that is looking at buying just land for future use, they're looking at, okay, where's the transportation facilities going to be? Where are hospitals going? So you should look at and just talk about this, the release, and do a little bit more of a deep dive into it. But that is some of the marketing material and some of the topics you could be putting out there to the consumers, and just putting a spin on why this information is important in relation to homes, investment properties. Yeah, Nancy?
And the Ontario Northland ran through yesterday. The first test train came through, which is really great.
Wow.
I know, it was so exciting. So Elroy and I are very excited that we're going to be advertising with the train, but I think that's also in response to what you're saying. It is a connection from Union Station to Cochrane. So, I mean, that's something that if people are buying real estate up here, it makes it a lot easier, and it's a selling feature for sure.
Yeah. Right.
It actually ran through. We were so excited to see it go through.
Cool. Well, I did notice when we were walking around, they had a booth at the cottage show.
They did. They had a small booth, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So where's this market going? I'm your consumer. Where's this market going? What are your answers?
Bottom out.
Okay, bottomed out, going up.
But stable.
Okay.
For houses going
Wow,
up, for houses going up for sure. For condos, maybe still
Okay.
we have a little bit way to go.
Okay. So we're seeing we're going to have a spring flurry and then a little bit level off in the summer or then busy in the fall? Are we going to see multiple offers through the whole year? What's your experience tell you?
I was hearing about the interest rates too, right? The fixed interest rates, I think banks are starting to raise up. I mean, I think the bond yields are kind of going up. That's what I've been hearing. Even though the variable's kind of nice and steady, I mean, below 4%, but looks like banks are trying to jack up the fixed a little bit. That's what's I've been hearing. So
I
some
agree.
buyers are panicking about that too, I hear.
I agree.
Yeah. So why is the market moving? It's exactly that. The fear of the interest rates definitely aren't coming down any lower, and the talk of it going up. And so right after that announcement where they said, we're holding it for this particular session and then we're going to watch and then possibility later in the year raise them. That's why everybody's come off the fence. Okay, everybody was looking to get to.
I've made my calls with that message already, and I noticed 2 people in realm much more.
Yeah. And that's why you've got to reach out. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
community you're in. Okay. This is what's going on. And it may be a little bit of a flurry for the next 60 days in Toronto until all of a sudden the news comes out, oh, it's busy, there's multiple offers again. That may pull people back a little bit. So we are going to get what we normally would get is you'd get spring market up till about the end of May, and then you'd see activity would slow down in the summer, and then you'd see late August, September, October, activities go back up again, and then back for December, January. That is a normal market activity. Okay. And so that's what I anticipate we're going to see. So, but it's going to hit every marketplace just at a different time. Okay. So you've got to get that out there and be the agent that's telling that, sharing that information first. Okay. Because that's when your consumers, that's when your clients are going to go, hey, you told us about this a month ago. We're just hearing about it now. Yeah, that's why. That's why, I want you to understand what's going on. Okay. So there's lots of good information out there today that I'm sure you're using for all your auto flow and live flow. Yeah, I don't see too many heads going, yeah, no, I right? Got to get your messaging out there. You have to have the conversation. Okay. It's great that you got the auto email and all that stuff and the text, and you have to have the conversations. And that's not just in real estate. Okay. I'm meeting with a lot. I'm meeting a lot more. I'm reaching out more to all my different database, different connections, and it's the conversations that are moving the needle, not the email. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
So, but Scott, is
Well,
is it the first time home buyers? I mean, I see first time home buyers are kind of getting out a little bit more and trying to start this activity. But like you're saying, I mean, you're looking at even activity, even like a $2 million or $3 million home, like that's not a first time home buyer. So I'm sure you probably see activity in even the upgrade home buyer type of thing, not only first time, but I see first time home buyer getting more comfortable, getting more out. That's what I am seeing.
yeah. And the first time buyer is the one that's out there right now.
Got it.
Okay. But I have clients I'm working with that are first time buyers because they're seeing that this is, the market to buy in. I also have some of my buyers, sort of my sellers that were sitting on the fence waiting to see, what's the market going once we get a little bit of momentum, because they had they bought it in the peak a little bit, and they know they're going to take a bit of a hit. And so now they're getting their homes ready. And these are houses that are $1.5 to $2 million range, which I anticipate as soon as we have sunshine, green grass, flowers, places that have yards are going to be selling faster. We're already seeing it in the Toronto area. And so that right now is when you're getting down the road, give it another 30 to 45 days. Hopefully we get some warm weather. So I have 3 listings that'll be coming on the end of April. And they're everywhere from Stony Creek to Etobicoke to Nobleton. Hopefully another one's in Thorold. So, but you have to have those conversations. These are people I've been talking with for months and months. So, yeah, got to me right. It is like even in the Niagara region, talked with Anita the other day. That's what they're seeing. That price range between 300 and 600. That's their range right now, where good property comes up, it's priced, it's selling in a week. Those people are eventually going to start looking. The house we have in Thorold for $949 had very quiet in showings for January, February. Last week, we had 3 showings. So, and that's in that higher price range. So in that area. So that tells me what it is there are people out there looking to go, okay, if we sell, what can we get? So they're going out first to see what's available, what can they get before they make that decision to sell.
Even this home in Milton, like, had one townhouse. They listed for $749 and had a fixed date offer. I was talking to the agent. I think he said in about 13 days they had about 100 showings. So definitely they got flood of offers on the first day. So they got it, I think, offer accepted, but the buyer never came up with the deposit, ended up backing out. And they went to the second buyer and got it locked in with the second buyer. Now it's sold conditional right away, right? Like next day, because he says the activity is so much that there's people looking, okay, first buyer doesn't want it, let's go to the next one and move on.
Yeah. And so that's going to be happening and is happening.
Yeah.
So make sure you're educating your buyers about what the process is and what's going on. Okay. Yeah, Elizabeth?
I have a question for all you seasoned agents out there who have had listings over many Easter weekends. Do you find that holiday weekends like this are usually busy or dead? I'm very interested.
Go ahead. Who's going to answer?
I've done open houses on Easter, and it's a no-go for me. That's just my experience.
Fair.
In the city, if it's a long weekend, everybody goes away. So houses may be a little bit different, might be worthwhile, but condos, absolutely not. You won't see any.
Action. Cool.
Where's the property?
What?
What's that, all right?
Up here in the long weekend in the summer, open houses that do very well, but Easter's too early this year. There's going to be snow down.
All right, we can't hear you.
It was like jumbly.
Marble. Yeah. Your internet.
Oh, it's microphone.
Oh.
That better?
That's better.
There we go. The earpiece not working. Up here in cottage country, we don't do Easter weekend. It's too early. There's too much snow. In the summer, absolutely long weekends. We Saturday, Sunday, Monday if we can.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. Where's the property? What are you thinking, Elizabeth?
It's in Guelph. So I don't have an open house planned, but we listed it on Sunday. at I think a great price, but we haven't had any showings booked yet. So I'm interested to see if, like, my gut said Easter weekend's probably not going to be busy. My buyers aren't trying to go out on Easter weekend. So yeah, just thought I would get the consensus too on what people have experienced before.
Well, let me give you my opinion.
Hmm.
What are you doing Saturday?
Unfortunately, I'm out of town for Easter myself, but I'm around the rest of the weekend.
Well, if you're out of town, then you're out of town. So I get that.
Yeah.
There is never a bad time to be involved in the real estate side.
I am
Okay.
meeting a potential buyer. I just booked appointment for Saturday in the office.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and what I mean by that is I get the condos downtown, I get the long weekend in April stuff.
Yeah.
You have a new listing. It's near Costco, you mentioned.
Yep. Thanks for watching my video.
Costco's open on Saturday.
Sure is.
Yeah. So, and you're not there, that's great. But if there is an agent that has nothing to do and you're trying to get back into the business and, get busy, you may get nobody. But if you're doing nothing, get your signs up, because I have had many open houses where I thought, why am I doing this? And it's been snowstorm. Because I had it advertised, I went.
Yeah.
I had somebody come through and said, I saw it online and I just, I was interested in it. It's a new listing, and they ended up buying it.
Nice.
So if you are, I get the, the location stuff where it's like, hey, no one's coming up. That's great. But if you are in a position like that you have nothing that you're doing in real estate, you have no other appointments. If you've booked off personal time for that time, great. I get it. But if you're wondering on what's going on, put your signs up. If nobody comes, spend the 2 hours or 3 hours working on your database, putting together your socials for the next week. Work on your auto flow, work on your live flow stuff, right? Because if you have a listing and it's where there's possibility of traffic, you have no idea who's going to be driving around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
My opinion always is, if you're not, if you're not taking personal time and you're looking at doing something this weekend, especially if you're in the, in around Southern Ontario, there will be people going around. That's my thought.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because if you think about it, Elizabeth, you're going out on Saturday, you're driving, right? You're driving somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people driving on Sunday too. And if they're actually active and see an area that they like, or they're going to visit family in that area and they, want to be neighbors with their cousin or something, then there's probably a good possibility that they'll pop in.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Great advice.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions, thoughts? Okay.
Speak up here.
Well,
I'll speak up here. I have a new listing near Horseshoe Valley. It's been on the market for about a week with a big saltwater heated pool and everything. So if someone's looking for a resort type property, this one's a gorgeous one and it needs to go.
I saw that backyard looks gorgeous.
Oh yeah, that backyard is something else. Yeah.
What did they spend on that backyard?
They told me around $250,000.
Looks like it.
Yeah. It's listed at 1.25 right now.
And yours is coming up too.
Pardon?
Yours is coming up too.
I just gotta wait for snow to melt, Nancy. So yeah.
So when you say near Horseshoe Valley,
it is right in the resort. Throw a golf ball and hit the main building.
Okay.
It's right there. The skis, you can walk to the ski slopes from it. It's so close.
Okay. Good. Have you been marketing it down in the GTA at all?
Yeah, a
The
little bit.
social.
I had it up at the Cottage Life Show and that had a few people look at it,
Oh,
but it's not quite a cottage type property. But a few looked at it, but I'm just hitting the socials hard now. But it's had 12 or 1,300 looks online, lots of looks, but not a booking showing request at all. Like it's like ooh,
If I
well
was
telling.
looking, if I was looking for a cottage property, it would be something like that because, I'm in the city and I'm bougie, but I imagine a cottage looking like that, so I would hit the GTA people.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a resort type property. It's all season
Yeah.
long. Skiing, golfing, biking, ATV trails, it's all right there.
Mhm.
okay. And how long you had it? Just how long has it been listed?
A week. It
A
hit the
week.
market last Tuesday. We timed it for the Cottage Life Show.
Okay. 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 Any other listings anybody want to talk about?
I'm all in leases these days. So I have one at St. Clair and Bathurst, and I'm getting one in Whitby, if you can imagine. But um, from my place, Whitby is actually
Closer.
is actually as close as going to Queen West because of traffic. So I'm okay
Yeah.
doing with it. And the fellow has other properties, so this is my foot in the door on someone. So
Good. Okay. Great. Um, I guess the other question would be the rentals. Are we seeing more activity? Because for a little bit there, we were seeing rental values come down a bit, on the condos and some other properties. But I'm starting to hear that the rental activity has picked up.
not sure the prices are up. Anytime I've done comps, they've been, especially a year or two ago, the prices are about the same in the condo world.
Okay.
So, I don't think we're seeing people moving now to get a lower rent. But I'm not seeing the prices going up or back up.
Okay. Well then,
That could change. That could change.
yeah,
Within 2 weeks, it could be
yeah,
different. So,
yeah, it certainly is interesting to see how the rental market can affect the first time buyer as well. Because if the rents actually start going up a little bit, first time buyers or people that are looking at renting will then start considering a purchase instead, especially if it's condo, where the values are still relatively low compared to where they were. So just got to make sure that you're doing your research and you've got, good talking points for the people that you're going to be meeting with. Okay. April 16th, how are we doing for RSVPs?
We have about 22 people RSVP'd, yes, that they are coming to our awards. I do think everyone here has RSVP'd. So I appreciate that. Thank you. It's going to be very fun. We've invited, similar to last year, other brokers and their agents to come and either present or simply just network. And yeah, it's going to be good. Food's good, drinks are good, location is good. Hopefully it's another sunny one. Yeah, so we're looking forward to seeing everyone. And you'll hear more from me online and via email about the event and everything like that. So yeah, it's coming up this month.
Yes. Okay. Any last questions, thoughts before we sign off? Anything else? No? All right, everybody. Well, do get out there and communicate, do your research, be the actual knowledgeable realtor, okay? Because that's what consumers are looking for. All right. See everybody later.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.